Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, and it's Debsy, and the place to be, it's Debsy. Bloop, that's me, boop, Debsy. Hey guys, and happy Sunday. I hope everybody is having a great weekend. If not a great weekend, then a good weekend. You did not get a video from me yesterday because I was busy in the morning, but then it was a tough time last night. We had some very sad news about some of our neighbors. So I took the night off. My mind just was not in the headspace to talk about the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. So that's why I had taken off last night. So today, I'm finally going to be doing a rant and recap about this week's Real Housewives of Beverly Hills episode. It should have been out Thursday. It was not, because I was fully embracing my my winter vacanza, and so here it is today. It aired on Wednesday. I watched it on Wednesday, and I'm not making it until today. So, but better late than never. Okay, so let's jump into it. It is a recap and rant of this week's Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. There's a lot to cover. So we start off with the episode with the ominous music, and you're like, oh shit, what is gonna happen? So they start off with Kyle and Mauricio. They're at home, and like I said, the ominous music, the darkness, like what is gonna jump off? So he asks, how was the dinner last night? She was like, oh, you don't wanna know. Sutton had brought up the fact that she thinks I'm in denial about something. I'm hiding something about my personal life. And then Garcelle brings up the fact that she thinks that the new ring that I was wearing is a makeup ring. I still don't understand how Kyle, living in Beverly Hills, does not know what a makeup ring is. I live in not Beverly Hills. I live in Podunk, Pennsylvania, and I know what it is. But she had said, so now because of that, everyone is thinking that something is going on in our marriage. P.S. It is. And Mauricio says, well, did you tell them to F off? And she's like, well, no. And he's like, well, if you would have, it would have stopped them from thinking something is going on. And she's like, well, true, I didn't. I don't know why not. Because something is going on. And she stands up and he goes and kisses her. And she's like, hey, let me pass, or something like that. He's like, I can kiss you anytime I want. And then the producers went in with the high cinema by going to black and white and showing a picture of, like, focusing on a picture of the two of them when they were younger, and then replaying the words of Sutton saying, she's in denial about something. I liked it. I liked that cinematic touch, producers. I liked it. Okay, so speaking of Sutton, we go over to Sutton is visiting her store. So it's Sutton and Avi at her store, Sutton, and they've been in business for, I don't know why I was like, they've been in business for 4 years. And it smells like sewage. What's that smell? I don't smell anything. It smells like sewage. So she's in business for 4 years. Congratulations. So she now has not one business, but 2 businesses. She said, it's all on my own. I didn't have to take money from anybody. And the producer is like, did you use the money from your ex's spousal support? She's like, well, yes, but she didn't have to take any other money. And listen, she used that money, but it didn't close like some people's stores. Kyle later on is like, congratulations to her. My business in Beverly Hills, I had to close it down. Maybe that's because you were selling some ugly ass caftans that ain't nobody wanted. Who in Beverly Hills wants some caftans? Ain't nobody wants some old ugly caftans. So, and then she says the funny thing was they're having like an anniversary party, and they're talking about food, and she's like, we don't have to have that much food, because everybody's either on Otivia or Olympic or Ozempia, and he's like, Avi's like, you mean Ozempic? Everybody's on Ozempic. It's not a lie, it probably is. There was also this Mrs. Poppins bag, a tote bag. I kind of feel like I need that. I really kind of feel like I want that. I would probably have to drain my 401k for it though. So she calls Crystal, she FaceTimes Crystal, and Crystal told Sutton that Kyle and Dorit were talking about her drinking, kind of insinuating that she has a drinking problem. Sutton is pissed, and I can understand why Sutton is pissed. Sutton is pissed because, listen, this could affect her business, and it could also affect her custodial arrangement with her ex-husband. And she's worried that this could possibly make him rethink that and try to take their son over to London. So I can understand why she's worried about that. Kyle meets with her therapist / life coach, and he asks, what is triggering you? What's triggering her, she says, is her issues with her sister, Kathy. And then she had said what a lot of people were thinking all along, including myself, that initially there was a falling out between her and her sister Kathy because Mauricio was in business with Kathy's husband selling real estate. Mauricio breaks off, starts the agency, and there's a falling out. So there was already some fractured issues between the two of them. Kyle said that anytime anything good happens to her, when you would think her sister would reach out and be like, I'm so proud of you, congratulations. That seems to be the time when Kathy has issues. Like one of the things that she had mentioned was when she wrote, when she produced American Woman. I think that lasted 2 seasons, but American Woman, because Kathy didn't think that it put their mother in that great of a light. And a flashback shows that Kathy was like, listen, I would have done the same thing if one of my daughters had done that. From what I understand, I don't know, their mother, Big Kathy, was, I don't know. I don't know. She was something from what I understand. And her therapist had said, well, listen, let them know that you love them, but it can't be just on their terms. They have to do some compromising as well. She also had said one of the things that was triggering her is that her best friend Lorene, who she had been best friends with since she was 7 years old, she had unalived herself. And she was just very confused because she said she had it so together, and she was even in Kyle's will, as far as finances and probably being named guardian of her children, I would think. And the life coach, the therapist, had said that what her best friend had represented is what she needs, is what Kyle needs. And that's a safe place. And Kyle says that she no longer has her marriage as a safe place. So now maybe I'm thinking that she's just working out, she's not drinking, and she's taking care of her health, just to create a safe place possibly. That's what I'm thinking. So next was Garcelle. Listen, Garcelle took Jaden and his girlfriend Ashlyn out for dinner or lunch. And she says that she worries more about Jaden because he really is a true 15-year-old, where Jax is just, his mindset is older and he just, I guess, acts older. So they're twins, but they're two very different people. So they go out to lunch. I enjoyed seeing this. And Garcelle had said, well, there will be times when I will want to watch a movie with him, but he'll be like, I can't, I'm talking to Ashlyn. And she's like, what are you doing? No, you let me go. You go watch a movie with your mother. Garcelle likes Ashlyn because she's sweet, she has manners, and she gives Jaden a little sass, which is good. Listen, sometimes I'm not that big of a fan of seeing Housewives families. It depends on what the family is like. I thoroughly enjoy seeing Garcelle interacting with both of her children. I enjoyed this scene a lot. The next scene, not so much, because this was Anne Marie. So they go over to Anne Marie's house. And they talk about the husband. You don't want to talk about the husband. They talked about the husband. And, oh my Lord. So she says basically that from day one, there were a lot of women that were chasing after her husband. Her husband is an ex NFL player. And there were always women waiting for her. Obviously, there were women waiting for him because the money is what I'm thinking. But then she goes in. I don't know if she was thinking that this is a flex or something. This sounded terrible. This made him sound terrible, and this made her sound desperate and terrible. But she said that when he met her, he said, listen, you are not a 10. You're a solid 8.5 on everything. Looks, brains, everything. The only thing that he gave her a 9.5 on is her body. Other than that, looks, no, you're not a 10, you're an 8.5. Brains, you're not a 10, you're an 8.5. Ability to do your job, no, you're an 8.5. So you're just average. You're nothing special. She seems to be okay with this. I'm going to refer to her probably as 8.5. Anna 8.5. 8.5. Anna 8.5, because I don't understand. He's a real catch. He is a real catch. I don't know who he is telling people they are 8.5. Look at him. I'll tell you, this is not a 10. Okay? This is not a 10. This is not a 10. But damn well, if I'm going to be with somebody who's like, I don't know, you're an 8.5. Are you smart? You're an 8.5. Can you do your job? Not really. Fuck that. No, she really did think that was great. And she said that's the reason why he fell in love with her was because she's just 8.5 at everything. I don't know. I don't understand it. Somebody please make it make sense to me. Next up was Erica and her mom. Erica had called her mom to let her know, hey, listen, I signed a contract for my Vegas residency. It's 20 shows. It was from September to the end of the year. And by the way, I just saw on Instagram that she just played her final show. It's for the Chili Side Stage. Chili Side Stage, here we come. It wasn't a Chili Side Stage. It was, I think, the House of Blues, maybe, possibly. And Erica had extended an invitation out to her for opening night. Okay, so next, everybody is getting ready for Sutton's anniversary party at her store. Kyle FaceTimes Morgan Wade, and she says, I'm taking my sister Kim to the store opening. We all know why. I mean, she mentioned it, and Sutton said later on, this is probably why. She's taking Kim so that she can show Sutton, oh, look, you said that I lost 2 sisters. Not so. Here's one of them. So she's basically using kind of Kim as like a pawn to like show, hey, everything's cool. And Kyle says something interesting. She says her friendship with Morgan is very different from her other friends. We know why. Listen, allegedly, but she said it's because Morgan is constantly like roasting her, whereas her other friends aren't. That's why. That's the reason why. Just saying. Allegedly. So Kyle, when she's talking to Morgan, she brings up the fact that Sutton and Garcelle brought up this new ring, and the fact that well, she must have gotten it because Mo bought it because he's cheating on her. So she says she's going to be wearing a new ring. So there's going to be a whole new rumor. Garcelle says it later. Listen, did she wear a new ring just so she can like kind of stir the pot? I wouldn't be surprised. So it is time for Sutton's event at her store. And listen, I'm going to tell you, the breakout star of the year for me is Avi, her property manager, because his sarcasm. Who walks in? I think it was Zach walks in, has sunglasses on, and then in all his sarcastic glory, he says, "You can take your sunglasses off. You're not a celebrity." Love it. I love Avi this season. Keep him all the rest of the seasons, please. Dorit says before showing up, she says that Sutton gave her a heads up as to how many people were going to be there, just so she can get ready for it, with her, prepare for it with her PTSD. So Kyle and Kim show up, and as soon as they show up, yeah, Sutton's on to that. Sutton knows the reason, the exact reason why she brought Kim. And listen, I know a lot of people say, "Oh, bring Kim Richards back. Please bring Kim Richards back." I don't think they should, because it was kind of like an awkwardness that she has. I don't think that they should bring her back just for that reason, but also because this show is what ruined. I don't want to say this show completely was the only thing that ruined their sisterhood, that ruined the relationship between them. But I mean, it didn't help. So I don't think she should be back on. So Sutton makes her speech. And listen, Erica was like, she's not the most eloquent of people. I thought the speech was on brand for Sutton. Sutton is not like a world-class orator. However, it's kind of hypocritical, Erica, for you to be saying that Sutton isn't a great speaker. I don't know that Erica Jane is all that great of an orator. So I don't know. I'm just saying. So after Sutton makes her speech, she goes over to where Kim and Kyle are standing. And she says something like, "Well, I'm going to be having my first drink now. I have to make sure that I check with Mom." And I thought I had heard Kim say, "Oh, was she talking about me?" Which I kind of thought Sutton should have maybe said something like, "Oh, I apologize. I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about me." Just because of the fact that Kim did have issues with drinking. But it basically, I think Kyle had maybe even said something like, "Oh no, she said it because of what we have going on together, or of what we have going on." And of course, we all know Sutton had said that because just basically what was said by Kyle and Dorit about her drinking, or what was inferred about it. Kyle says to Sutton that she didn't say that she has a drinking problem. She didn't come out and say it, but she did say, "I don't know if you've had one drink or 5 drinks." I mean, that is inferring. I mean, from that and from the flashback, whenever the two of them were talking to Crystal, to me, it sounded like they were saying without saying that she has a drinking problem. And once again, I mean, that right there could very well be very detrimental to her business and to her custody, like to her custodial status with her son. Well, then we got on to the topic of the makeup gift, like the makeup ring. And Kyle had said, who said it was a makeup ring? And I didn't, and she said that to Sutton. And I was not a fan of Sutton immediately saying Garcelle. I kind of felt like it was her throwing Garcelle under the bus. I did not like that, but Kyle had confronted Garcelle and it said, did you say it? She was like, yeah, I said it. I'll say it again. I think it was. She completely said, yeah, I did. But then in her confessional, Garcelle was like, it's almost like she wants us to ask about this new ring. She was wearing a new ring. Fancy Drew and Garcelle got right on it. It is a Tiffany true ring. It's not a wedding band. I'm thinking, and before they even said anything, I was like, I wonder if Morgan Wade has one. And then they had mentioned something like, I wonder who else has one. While all of this is going on, Crystal, Erica, and Garcelle were talking. And Erica was kind of confused by Denise's behavior at the weed party, at the weed dinner. And then we find out that Erica slept for 17 hours. 17 hours after the weed party. 17 hours? I'm going to tell you. Here's a little confession. I have never in my life ever done drugs just because of the fact that, number one, I hate the smell of weed. I have never done it. However, you know, when you go to concerts and somebody will be like, oh, somebody's smoking weed. You could smell it there. And there were also times whenever I would wait in downtown Pittsburgh for my bus to come home from work, like, because I would commute. And there were times when people would just walk down the street just smoking a joint. And you could smell it. I don't like the smell of it at all. I don't even like the smell of cigarette smoke. So I certainly don't like the smell of that. And it's just, to me, it's like dirty. Plus, it's legal. And I don't do nothing illegal. No, thank you. So, I don't know that you would sleep for 17 hours. Let me know in the comments. Would you sleep 17 hours? I thought that was kind of crazy. So after this whole Fancy Drew and Garcelle, on the case of the makeup ring, the other ladies come over and Sutton brings up the drinking comment, to Dorit. And she says, oh, listen, I was told that you're going around telling everybody about my drinking. And Dorit says, no, I was just talking to Kyle and to Crystal. I'm go ask Crystal. So directly goes over to Crystal and says, listen, did you tell people I'm going around telling people? And she was like, I did not say I was going around telling everybody. Said you were going around telling everybody. Like, listen, Dorit said it was funny, but it was kind of hypocritical because Dorit says we rarely hear a peep from Crystal. Now all of a sudden she's a carrier pigeon for Sutton. It was kind of funny. However, don't do it because you are Kyle's number one carrier pigeon. Number one. So let's watch it. If you're going to throw stones, don't live in glass houses, honey. So while this is going on, Kyle and Sutton, they both apologize to each other. We know that doesn't stick. And Sutton off camera is like, we have to forge some kind of new friendship. We know that's not going to stick. Dorit, meanwhile, Dorit says to Crystal, that Sutton told me you're telling everyone that I told everyone about Sutton's, about her drinking. And Crystal then says, you hear about it, but never think you're going to be on the end of a Dorit interrogation. And then the producers went in because they edited it and it was going on and on and on and on. And by the end of it, Crystal was like, oh, I'm so bored of this. That was funny. That was some shade, and I enjoyed that. Okay, So Anne-Marie has done nothing this whole episode except show that she's okay with being called subpar by her husband and everything. I still don't get it. So the ladies are talking. She inserts herself, talking about, first of all, the medication that Sutton takes for her neuropathy. So she's like, so if you have your neuropathy, you're probably on gabapentin. And she's like, yes. And she says, well, you should not be drinking on that. And Sutton is like, my doctor says I can. And she's like, right, but you shouldn't. And she's like, my doctor says I can. You're not her doctor. And I doubt that you're saying this from a place of caring. You don't know Sutton. So, and from what I understand, I saw on Twitter, people had looked it up, and you can't, some of the side effects, if you have a drink with gabapentin, one of them is that you get very drowsy. She takes it at night. So, I mean, she's going to bed. So I don't understand. So Kyle's fixing her lips, and she's feeding Anne-Marie what to talk about next. Carrier pigeon, Anne-Marie. She's telling her what to talk about next. The next subject is going to be her esophagus. Anne-Marie says, listen, I'm a nurse anesthetist, can't say it. And she says, listen, if you have a narrow esophagus, that's just a symptom of something and not a medical diagnosis. Because and then right after that, off camera, she says, I'm a nurse anesthetist, and so I don't know what I'm talking about. No, she doesn't even say that off camera. She says that on camera, I think. I'm a nurse anesthetist, and I don't know what I'm talking about, but this doesn't make sense. She says it doesn't make sense off camera. Well, what doesn't make sense? Because I have heard people talking on social media who do know about it, and they do know that this can be a thing. And she had said, Anne-Marie said, if you have a sphincter of your esophagus, then you just have to chew your food more. And I've seen people on social media saying, no, that's not the case. This really is a medical condition. And then there were also, from what I understand, in the after party, Crystal had shared a story about when they were someplace that they were not filming, and they had to actually pull the van over because Sutton had eaten something and she was choking because it wouldn't go down her throat, her esophagus, because it was narrowing. Listen. Who is this woman that Sutton doesn't know, and she's dropping this medical advice? Like, Sutton was like, excuse me, is this a doctor's visit? I didn't know we were having a doctor's visit. And that, I didn't find that to be condescending, because here you are. I did find it condescending that here you are, not a doctor, not her doctor, shaming her for a problem that she has with her esophagus. Her brother has a problem with his esophagus too. Why don't you call and talk to him like that? The only thing that I didn't agree with for Sutton was when she was like, stop yelling at me. Anne-Marie really was not yelling at her. I will say that. I mean, that goes back to the whole angry black woman. Like, maybe like when a black woman, raises her voice a little bit or speaks a little passionately, then all of a sudden she's yelling. I didn't see that she was yelling. That's the only thing that I'll stand behind Anne-Marie with. So then seriously, then Sutton says, well, shall we all go get my esophagus stretched together? Erica Jane saying, listen, off camera, listen, you don't need to go get it stretched. Just give a BJ and everything will be fine. Maybe that's why she doesn't have a second date. So, But listen, I wrote, so that's it. So Anne-Marie had to insert herself because she was fed the topic by Kyle. I don't think it was very professional of her. Listen, I don't think it was professional of her at all to insert herself into Sutton's medical issues. And it ended with everybody saying, you know, congratulations, Sutton, on your success. Honestly, I think Anne-Marie's a flop. I know we haven't seen her that much, but I feel like she's a flop. I mean, and if she is going to be a full-time housewife, we have seen no tagline from her. And does she do confessionals? No, she did. She did do confessionals, but still no tagline. In my mind, I really think they're trying to figure out if they want to keep her as a full-time or just a friend of, because of all these issues with her husband. So that's what it is. That was my recap and rant for Real Housewives of Beverly Hills from this past week. In the comments, if you watched, let me know what you thought. And with that being said, I love you guys. If nobody told you yet today, I love you guys. You're loved, seen, and heard. Please make sure that you put love, kindness, compassion, acceptance, hope, positivity, and understanding out there. Please take care of one another. Please check in on one another. You know, if you haven't talked to someone in a little while, just check on them and see how they're doing. And also be aware of your surroundings. Stay safe. I will see you guys tomorrow, and I love you guys. Bye, guys.